All right. Welcome everyone to about 7 o'clock. Welcome to the November 2023 meeting of the Morristown Township Board of Education. This meeting was properly noticed as set forth in the agenda. May I please get a moment of silence? Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you take roll, please, Mr. Heiser?
Mrs. Arcaro Burns,
Present.
Mrs. Fallis Macaluso,
Here.
Dr. Myatt,
Here.
Mrs. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Morano,
Here.
Ms. Romano,
Here.
Mr. Weeks, Mrs. Makopoulos,
Here.
Mr. Villanueva.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And may I please get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the executive session and regular meeting from our October 17th, 2023 meeting, those minutes were amended as discussed in executive. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes or abstentions?
I'm abstaining. 'Cause I wasn't there.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on. Thank you for those that showed up on a wet Tuesday, cold night. Wanted to give a couple of updates. As I think most people know, the board and administration has been looking very closely at issues related to new housing and the potential population increase that we expect will happen as the new housing projects come to fruition. I think if you drive by the Morristown Mall, you can see that that project is well underway. I think I saw a parking garage there the other day, and my understanding is that the developer expects that apartment complex, I believe it's going to be called the Pearl, will be finished construction by the fall of 2024. Of course, there may be some slippage, but that's the best estimate at the moment. That's going to be a 375 unit complex with a mix of bedrooms between 1 bedroom up to 3 bedrooms. So we're hoping to continue to get more information about that project, as well as there are 7 others that are in various phases of planning in Morristown. And so we are trying to get a better sense as to the projected number of students that may reside in those complexes, so that we can make sure that we are prepared to bring those into our school district. And so you've heard us now for at least a number of months, if not a couple of years, talk about how to address this issue, among other things. And we've set up a ad hoc committee to examine the impact of these new housing developments. And we've been talking generally about, a potential referendum to improve, or I don't want to say improve, but to expand our facility footprint to ensure that we have enough space to address this potential influx of students that we think is pretty clearly going to happen. And so we are still in the analysis phase. And when I say we, I'm talking about administration. Mr. Bollendorf, James, and his team have been taking a much deeper dive into this and consulting with the board as more clarity comes as to what might be potential capital improvements to address these issues. And but I do think we are starting to get some clarity. Again, we don't know, the board doesn't know exactly what would be the right capital referendum project. But I do think it's fair to say that if there is going to be a capital referendum, that it would be in the fall or winter of next year, so fall or winter of 2024. Again, a lot more information to come on that, because we're just not in a position yet to give a whole lot of detail about it, because we don't know ourselves. But another issue that we've also been talking about is finding a permanent superintendent. And we've been very fortunate to have Joe Bollendorf here as our interim superintendent. And his current contract is set to expire at the end of June of 2024. And so as some of you may know, we've been talking, the board has been talking about how to move forward with our superintendent search, whether we wanted to use a search firm to help us in that process, and various alternatives and various ways in which we were intending to move forward with the search for a permanent superintendent. After thinking about it long and hard, we came to realize that, one of the things that we were looking for in a permanent superintendent was one that could quickly understand the history of Morristown, particularly as it pertains to this new housing issue and potential increase in population, and one that could help us with the referendum. And as it became clearer to us that the timing of a referendum would likely happen in the fall or winter of 2024, we didn't think it would set a new superintendent up for success to bring that person in July and expect that superintendent to get up to speed on all these complex issues and then go out into the community to advocate for a referendum. We didn't think that would set this person up for success, and we thought we would be better suited to have consistency in the leadership role as we go through the referendum process. So to that end, we've been talking with Mr. Bollendorf about his interest in remaining with us, and he has graciously and kindly agreed to do so. So we will be, our intent is to extend Mr. Bollendorf's contract through the end of 2024. Our hope is that, if there's going to be a referendum, it will happen while he is still here. And we are excited that he has agreed to do that. He has, he's only been here for about a year, a little less than a year. He's really leaned in and accomplished so much, and has led our district in a really meaningful and helpful way that I think we've all been very impressed by. So thank you, Joe, for agreeing to stay on with us. We won't be taking formal action on that until the beginning of next year. So there was a recent election, our new board with one new member, Jackie Barnes, who is here. Hi, Jackie. Congratulations. We will be taking formal action on this extension at some point in early 2024. So with that, I just wanted to give that brief update. As I'd mentioned, there was a recent school board election. Congratulations, Jackie will be joining us as a new board member, and Brooke and Mick, congratulations. They will also be retaining their seats. And I just wanted to also thank Marissa Cohen and Dave Hoffman, who also ran and were willing to step up and try to help our schools. And so I always have a lot of respect and appreciate those that are interested in serving on the Board of Education. So thank you to everybody that was involved in that process. So the last thing I wanted to mention was to congratulate Joe and his family. He has a new granddaughter, Lucy Caitlin Bollendorf, that joined his family last week, I believe. And so congratulations to Joe and his growing family. I know it's his first granddaughter and must be very excited. So with that, I'll pass the microphone over to Pop Bollendorf.
I do like the way that sounds. It wasn't a difficult decision, and I want to thank the board and also the community who's been very supportive to actually hear that my presence can be beneficial to this town as a whole, and to help you accomplish some specific goals that are laid out, some challenges that are in front of this community. I'm flattered and excited to continue that work and help to make that happen. There are so many aspects of this, and one of the major aspects is the maintenance of the incredibly strong academic programming that you provide. And as we look at facilities and spacing, maintaining that balance and being able to provide the necessary space to be able to keep your classroom sizes at a manageable level, all of those things that go involved in programming for you to increase the type of programming that you're already engaged in special needs for supports for our students and other programming space, even without the addition of the pilot programming, is at a premium at this particular moment because of the things that you've done. So in order for this community to continue to move forward, it's really vitally important that we embrace as a community those things that are necessary to maintain and continue that fine programming and the history that you have here in Moorestown as being one of the finest school districts in the whole state of New Jersey. That takes planning, it takes time, it takes cooperation and coordination. So we intend to engage the community and engage our staff in that process so that when we step forward, we're stepping forward collectively and we're stepping forward in a very positive way that's going to be meaningful and going to help take Moorestown into the future. So it's really important work that needs to be done. I'm happy to be a part of it. I have some experience in it. And I've just really enjoyed being here and learning about Moorestown and becoming a bigger part of who this community is. On the heels of that, I'm in retirement technically, and now I have my first grandchild, and that's an exciting thing. I know there may be other grandparents here in the audience or at home watching on TV, but it's certainly a very different kind of emotion that you get to experience in that realm. So I'm looking forward to be able to be that pop and to spend time. But I'm also very dedicated to the work at hand and what needs to be done. And we're starting this work, and I'm happy that I'll be given an opportunity to be here to help finish it. So once again, I thank the board and thank the community for your ongoing support. I want to wish happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I have a little note going out to the community tomorrow on that account. But the school year's off to a fine start. I want to thank Lisa and the MEA and the work that they do collectively with the grouping that we have, because there is a concerted effort here to communicate and work with one another to accomplish things that need to get done. And so it's a supportive environment that I think is beneficial for the one and most important thing, our kids. That's the reason we're here. That's the work that needs to be done and the reason why we do it. And working with a group of people who get that and understand that is not only refreshing, but it's the reason why you are who you are. So I want to thank everybody once again, and I'm anxious to hear our kids. I'm going to hold your graduation report off because this is always my favorite part of the meeting. And so if we can turn it over to our ambassadors from the high school for their reports, it would be greatly appreciated at this time. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bhavika, the senior class liaison, and we've had some exciting events happening in the senior class over the last month. So firstly, last meeting, I talked and I asked all of you to keep seniors in your thoughts because of the infamous November 1st deadline, and pray that the trifecta of College Board, Common App, and Naviance didn't crash. And I'm glad to report that they didn't. So great feat for us seniors. We were all able to submit our early applications. The decisions for these are starting to roll out, but most of them will come out in December. The regular deadlines are scattered from December through January, but most of them are due the first week of January, and some are also due on January 1st. So that's a great kickoff to 2024. But that's what's happening outside of school. I'll also be reading a brief report on behalf of Kyle Summerson, our junior class liaison, who is unable to be here tonight, but he was going to talk about the diversity committee that was just started. So last week, the Diversity, Inclusion, and Culture Leads to Equity Committee, otherwise known as the DICE Committee, met for the first time. In this committee, led by Mrs. Butler, which consisted of board members, administrators, teachers, parents, and students at the high school, we discussed previous efforts to combat hate and racism in our schools. We started by laying out the purpose of the committee, which is to formulate an action plan to promote equity for all in the district, whether staff, students, or parents. We also looked at previous studies into DEI efforts in our schools. We discussed the fact that the projects that were previously done and the fact that many were not aware of the actions we took. And we ended the meeting by discussing our dates for our next meeting, which will be in about 3 weeks. We will also likely break into subcommittees to address certain aspects of the plan. Currently, the members of the committee are reviewing action plans of other districts and the demographic of our district to come up with a plan that will fit our district well and lead to a more equitable future for our district. I'm also a member of the DICE committee, and I'm very excited to bring my perspective and hear everybody else's perspective and really make change. That's all I have for my report, and now I would like to pass it off to Angelo. I hope everybody has wonderful holiday season and Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Good evening, teachers, parents, and the Board of Education. My name is Angelo Bajati, one of the sophomore class liaisons, and I would like to provide an update on our fall sports playoffs at Morristown High School. Firstly, I would like to congratulate our girls varsity tennis team for winning the Group 3 sectional championship and becoming Olympic Conference champions, and the boys varsity soccer team for securing the Olympic Conference divisional championship. Our girls volleyball team advanced up to the Group 3 sectional finals, and the girls field hockey team made it to the round 2 of the NJSIAA playoffs. Although our football team competed fiercely in the NJSIAA round 1, they faced a tough loss. Let's continue to support our amazing athletes. Of course, we cannot thank enough all of our coaches that work tirelessly to support all of these wonderful programs. Without them, our successes would not be possible. As we reflect on these achievements, it's evident that the spirit of excellence runs deep in our athletic program at Morristown High School. Our teams showcase not only skill on the field, but also resilience, teamwork, and the true essence of sportsmanship. Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Good evening, good evening, everyone. My name is Lily Trackus, and I'm the freshman class liaison. We've had quite an eventful few months over at the high school, including the Thanksgiving food drive, the fall play, and the Veterans Day assembly. The fall play, Puffs, was a hit. Not only did the actors on stage have fun, but the audience got to join in on all that fun. Several of my classmates who participated in the fall play told me that it was a great experience. Many even decided to participate in the spring musical because they loved the play so much. As far as the audience goes, I've heard only good things. I know all of the Harry Potter fans out there enjoyed all of the references and niche jokes. With our spring musical auditions underway, I can tell it's going to be just as good. Another thing that's happened over the past month is our annual Thanksgiving food drive. We've collected enough food to feed many families across Morristown. I know that all have a happier Thanksgiving, knowing that our school has helped provide meals for other families across Morristown, and I'm looking forward to having an even bigger and better drive next year. Another event that happened recently was the Veterans Day Assembly. It ran very smoothly. All of the students were very respectful, and we heard some great speeches. Hearing all of the veterans' story gave me a newfound appreciation for the holiday of Veterans Day and the veterans themselves. To a lot of young people, serving in the armed forces seems kind of far off. Meeting all of these veterans and hearing their stories firsthand gave us all a new perspective and appreciation of veterans, which is why the Veterans Day Assembly is so important. In addition to the students, I know all of the veterans greatly enjoyed being honored. Thank you and have a wonderful holiday season.
I really do appreciate that the district goes to the extent that it does to honor our veterans. I think it's really very critical. I think it's great that we are able to exemplify and to honor them in front of our kids so that you have a better understanding of the sacrifices that they and their families continue to make for our country. And it motivates and inspires some of our kids to fill those ranks moving forward. And we certainly need that. So I appreciate that. And I did see the play. And my daughter's a huge Harry Potter fan, and she's 32 years old. And we all came and we just thought it was fabulous. It was really well done. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So thank you. You guys do a great job. If you want to escape, now's the time. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Benton, who's going to do our graduation report.
Good evening. So our annual graduation report will be brief tonight. It really is an add-on to the State of the District presentation that I gave last year. If you do remember, this report deals with our class of 2023 graduates from the spring. And if you remember, that class was the last class that was exempt from all of their graduation assessment requirements. But they were still held accountable for all of their course and attendance requirements that are required by the school and the district. So in that report, we had a total of 312 students that were in the class. The state requires that we report how many students graduate using the 3 different pathways. Pathway 1 was the NJGPA. Pathway 2 is the alternative assessment such as the SAT, and Pathway 3 is the graduation portfolio. Because all students were exempt from all three of those requirements, there's no data to report for that. The report also includes how many students received the state endorsed high school diploma as a result of meeting alternative requirements for graduation. As specified in the IEP, we had one student who graduated under those requirements, and the total number of students that were denied graduation from the 12th grade class was 2. And again, that was not for assessment reasons, but for reasons of course requirement or attendance. And that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Benton? Okay, great. Well, thank you, Karen. Next up are the board committee reports, starting with the ad hoc committee on housing development. We did not have a formal meeting this month, so nothing to report, at least in terms of a formal committee meeting. So moving on to communications, Jill.
So the communications committee met on November 15th last week. It was Brooke Myatt, Mark Villanueva, Melissa Arcaro Burns, myself, Joe Bollendorf, and Dave Tate. We realigned around our strategic goal of increasing awareness about district initiatives and student achievements through more strategic communications. We talked about the progress that's been made by Karen Mead over the past couple of months, really leveraging social media to enhance communications on behalf of the district. We're proud of her efforts. We aligned around our next priority of improving the website, both the functionality of it and the relevant content. We talked about 2 approaches, some quick fixes and enhancements to ensure we're leveraging the existing design to the fullest extent. And Joe is going to pull that through with the technology department. But also we talked about obtaining vendor proposals for redesign to be considered for the next budget cycle. And Joe is taking that as an action item. And lastly, we talked about several other ideas and agreed to further explore a bunch of them, creative things, some old, some new, and thinking not just about communicating with the district, but the broader Morristown community at large. So more to come on that. And we meet again December 6th.
Questions? All right, Lauren, if you could give us an update on curriculum, please.
Sure. The curriculum committee met yesterday, November 20th. In attendance was Karen, Mick, Danielle, Cheryl, and myself. Mick shared that he and Trish Rowe toured the string theory school, and Mick will provide a more detailed overview of some of the things that they gained from that visit at a later date. We discussed the curriculum that originally was on the agenda for today's approval. We realized that some information hadn't gone out to the full board, so that was sent out late yesterday, so everyone should have time to review it, and we will vote on the new curriculum in December's meeting. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can ask for office hours with Karen to kind of go over that. This is curriculum though that already is, in process. The staff wrote it over the summer, was voted on for writing last budget season. So it's just a really routine matter at this point, and but needs a vote for the December meeting. Karen overviewed the 2023 ELA and math standard update for ELA. She provided a summary of the NJSLA ELA changes that are required now. Brief overview of that is a revision of the K-5 standards for foundational skills in reading language. There's added 5 through K standards for foundational skills in the writing language, and other reading and writing standard domains are K-12. The NJDOE is just starting a technical assistance training and provision of implementation guidance for the documents, and provided a crosswalk. So we're kind of still just sorting through to make sure that the new curriculum that was under for adoption provides and meets all of the needs of the revisions. Similarly for math, there's a summary that was provided for the NJSLA math changes. Several standards within Algebra 2 are now optional. So again, Karen provided a more detailed overview, but that's a general overview. There also was a point with the standards that climate change opportunities was promoted, which just gave indicators throughout both math and ELA standards where climate change topics could be integrated. It wasn't mandatory though, and the district is awaiting additional NGDOA guidance on the implementation requirements of that. We looked at the field trip overview. On the agenda is the Anti-Defamation Youth Conference trip. Information about that was shared. We discussed briefly about CUSAC. This year we are under CUSAC review, and just, kind of touched base that on Monday, the 20th, Karen did submit all the materials for the state to review. And they're planning an in-person visit for March for the district. Also for December, the reason we moved up the December board meeting is because a self-assessment for the district is due, and that will be voted on the December board meeting as well. And then Karen reviewed with us the graduation report that she just presented.
Thanks, Lauren. Any questions from Lauren? Nope. Next is finance and operations. I know Mick's not here. Are you giving the report? All right, Danielle, thanks.
Finance and Operations Committee met on November 7th, 2023. Those in attendance were Mick Weeks, Cheryl Makopoulos, Claudine Morano, Danielle Miller, Joe Bollendorf, James Heiser, Karen Benton, and Jeff Airy. The agenda items discussed were the RFPs that are up in January. The 2024 to 2025 budget calendar was reviewed. The 2022 to 2023 fund balance was discussed. Overnight trips as well as job descriptions were also discussed, and they were on the agenda, and discussion items were the IT department reorg. That's it.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Danielle? All right. Claudine, Policy Committee.
This policy met on November 16th. It was myself, Melissa Burns, or Kara Burns, Jill Fells Macaluso, Mark Villanueva, Mr. Bollendorf, Dr. Benton, and Ms. Butler. You'll see on the agenda, the item or first reading is a mandatory new policy and regulation from the state having to do with establishing districts having to establish threat assessment teams in the schools. So the purpose of the threat assessment teams and the law is to provide administration and staff assistance in identifying students of concern and the ability to assess student risks for engaging in harmful activities, as well as delivering intervention and strategies. So we'll be on first reading, it's both a policy and a regulation, number 2419. The administration did share with the committee that the district is already in compliance with the policy. So this isn't going to make any kind of major changes at the moment. So we're in good shape once this is adopted. Items from second reading that were not amended last go around. You'll just see it's our website accessibility policy, our reimbursement of federal and other grant expenditures policies, federal awards policies, and contract for goods and services. All of those are mandatory policies that were either tweaked or amended by the state. We had our usual items for discussion. We're wrapping up our final drafts of revisions of our associations dealing with parent organizations, educational foundations, booster clubs, and community organizations, hoping to have that on first reading in December. We have an ongoing review of our policy and regulation number 5530, which is our substance abuse policies. Drew Seibel has been reviewing it with his staff at the high school and making some recommendations to our committee and to the board. And then finally, Mrs. Butler had just given us some outline of the district's implementation of the state's new sick leave law, which significantly changes the scope of allowable uses of sick days for school district employees. So she gave us an update on that. That's it. And the next meeting is December 8th.
Thanks, Claudine. Any questions for Claudine? All right. Are there any off-board committee updates from anyone?
The Special Education Advocacy Council, or SPEAK, has or is sponsoring the Inclusive Schools Week, December 5th through December 9th. There will be activities throughout the district in every school. So please encourage your students to look out for those. And the next meeting is January 25th at 9:30 in the Star Center.
Thanks, Melissa. Anyone else? All right. Moving on, we're to our first public comment section that addresses public comment on agenda items. May I get a motion to open public comment, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? All right. If anybody has any public comment on agenda items, you can approach the microphone. Seeing no movement, may I get a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, now to the items for us to vote on. Turning to reports of the board in Article 8 of the agenda, may I please get a motion for the approval of items 1 through 5?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Those are abstentions? Thank you. Article 9, recommendations of the superintendent, which includes the policies and procedures for first and second reading. May I get a motion for the approval of items 1 and 2, please?
So moved.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Those are abstentions? Thank you. Letter B. This one has been amended, and we are going to table for approval number 4, which is the approval of curriculum that will be voted on in December. So may I please get a motion for the approval of items 1 through 3 in that section?
So moved. Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Those are abstentions. Thank you. Finance and business. We have items 1 through 8 listed. May I please get a motion for the approval of those items?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Thank you. Employee relations. There was an amendment in this section. Is that correct? Correct, James? For employee relations?
Is correct. It was an addition to a blank spot that was already reserved. on
Got
the
it.
agenda.
Okay. And we discussed that in executive. So can I please get a motion for approval of items 1 through 13 in letter D, please? Any comments or questions? Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Arcaro Burns,
Yes.
Mrs. Fowles Macaluso. Dr. Myatt,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Morano,
Yes.
Ms. Romano,
Yes.
Mr. Weeks, Mrs. McCopolis,
Yes.
Mr. Villanueva.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Article 9 in the agenda includes suspensions and the superintendent's HIB report. May I please get a motion for approval of those items, please?
So moved.
Any comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
I think
We can just do it with a quickie. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Okay, thank you. Article 11 is I'm sorry.
Is that for last?
Yeah. Yeah, so Right. Yeah, so the way it works is the ones that we're voting on, the HIBs that we are voting on are the HIBs that we reviewed the month prior in executive session. Article 11 is informational only, and that shows current enrollment. Is there any old business? No. There is new business, which includes the 2024 to 2025 budget calendar acknowledgement that was included as an exhibit to the agenda that was circulated last week. And that sets forth the calendar of events related to our budget season that starts in a couple months. May I get, are you, there's no,
Just an acknowledgement.
all right. Acknowledged. We are now on to our second public comment section, which relates to anything on or off the agenda. I'd ask that you please state your name and address prior to making your comment. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. And please understand that this isn't a question and answer session, but we do value hearing your comments on school-related issues. May I please get a motion to open public comment? Thanks. All in favor? Aye. All right. Floor is open.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nicole Dancy, president of Morristown Home and School. Our most recent news and events, we completed UES's Scholastic Book Fair, UES Parent Internet Safety Session in partnership with the district, online apparel, Miss Chocolate, and the Princeton Review SAT fundraisers, Meet the BOE Candidates Forum, Project Democracy, our annual Home and School Turkey and Pie Drive. Thank you to the many Home and School volunteers, Mtps, and the Morristown community for their generous donations. Thank you to the Community House for being the donation drop-off location. Some upcoming events: the Secret Lives of Teen and Tweens Parent Care and Caregivers presentation for the high school as well as WAMS on Wednesday, November 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. in MHS's auditorium. Please RSVP via the link in weekly Home and School General News emails. Author Day with Daniel Kirk, author of The Library Mouse, on December 5th at all 3 elementary schools, and at Baker Oaks Integrated Mitten Tree Drive, Monday, November 27th through Monday, December 4th. Food for All Fridays is back starting December 1st, Toys for Tots until December 4th, and Bingo Night on Thursday, December 6th. Stay tuned for information as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and feel free to contact us at any time to purchase a calendar or to join Home and School. Thank you, everyone, for your continued support, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Debbie Kitley, and I'm a speech language pathologist at Baker School. And I would like to just say thank you to the high school staff, for the class advisors, for organizing a wonderful Spirit Week, for organizing a procession down Main Street before homecoming football game, and for organizing the homecoming dance. The advisors also organized the Veterans Day Assembly, which was a special event for all the veterans that were honored. We'd also like to recognize the work of Greg Haar and the staff that helped with the fall play this year. Morristown High School presented its annual fall play on October 26, 27, and 28. And this year's show was Puffs, a popular parody of the Harry Potter franchise. And over 40 students were involved in acting, set construction, costuming, hair and makeup, lighting, and sound. Nearly 800 family and community members attended, and the show will be entered into a statewide competition held by Montclair State University in May. Up next is the spring musical Mamma Mia in late February, early March. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Claire McGreevy and I teach at WAMS. And I would like to commend the WAMS staff for a few things tonight. On November 2nd, the WAMS Spanish teachers hosted their annual Day of the Dead celebration. More than 300 students who take Spanish participated in the cultural celebration, creating decorations and eating traditional Mexican foods like flautas, empanadas, and bread of the dead. WAM's Spanish teachers would like to express their appreciation to the almost 40 parent volunteers who came out to support the event. Additionally, 12 teams of WAM students dodged, ducked, and dipped last week in an exciting after-school dodgeball tournament. Each team of 10 students donated an entrance fee so that the winning dodgeball team could give $1,000 to the charity of their choice. This year's team donated the generous sum to the Wounded Warrior Project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle McCann. I'm a special educator at UES, teaching in the self-contained class for grades 4, 5, 6. I'm here to commend the Baker Elementary School. The Baker staff on October 27th participated in a Casual for the Cause Day. The cause was to honor our colleague Spring Williams and support breast cancer awareness. The staff wore pink shirts, which were custom designed for the occasion by teacher Mark Ambrosino. A gracious donation to the cause was made in Spring's name. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Hi, Debbie McGeorge, 230 Eastbourne Terrace, and also a teacher at the UES. And I would like to commend and thank the UES staff for some things. One of them is the students at Miss Luce's class have been learning about ancient Mesopotamia and the world's first civilizations, the world's first language, and new inventions. To culminate this module, students were designing their own city-states, and they will name and line out the city, including all the permanent areas, read captions telling about all their features of their new ancient Mesopotamian city-state. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Krista McKean. I teach at the UES, but I'm going to be speaking on behalf of Roberts School. Roberts School was very happy to kick off our annual Jump Rope for Heart campaign this month. This district-wide program raises money and awareness to support the American Heart Association. Roberts School was the third highest to raise funds in all of Burlington County last year. It is very near and dear to staff and students that have personal connections with heart disease. Mary E. Roberts is the school with the heart. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jen Neidig. I'm one of the art teachers here at WAMS, and I'm speaking on behalf of South Valley. Third grade at South Valley had lots of fun adding art integration into their lessons to get the Halloween spirit. One class made monster arrays to help with multiplication. Another class made pumpkins to practice their fast facts. One third grade class made haunted houses to reinforce their rounding skills. And the fourth class reinforced their paragraphs by writing about 3 things that turn them into a screaming monster. And of course, made a monster to go with this. Kindergarten had a busy month. They learned about the celebration of Diwali by doing a special dance and creating crafts. They had community members come and speak about Veterans Day and honor those who have served our country. And they created turkeys disguised as firefighters, rainbows, and a slice of pizza. They are wrapping up the month with discussions of all the things they are thankful for, and we sure are thankful for our South Valley kindergarten teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. May I get a motion to close public comment? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Is there anything for the good of the order? Well, I'm going to practice my Thanksgiving speech here. No, I think we have made it out here in record time. It is the season of thanks. So thank you to everybody in our school community. Thank you to to Joe, James, Carol, Dave, Jeff, John, and all the board members. It's at times a thankless job, but thank you for all the time that you put into this. Karen, I sorry, I skipped over you by accident. I apologize. That's right. That's right. So thank you. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and may I please get a motion to close? I'm sorry, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.